suggest that to you because those three things, I think, kind of guide our day. The information, the issues, and the influencers. And then, of course, here in this area of the United States, the influencers beyond the media, of course, go to the folks that are across the river, the lobbyists, your special interest group, the Congress itself, and all of the different corporate and private entities that are here in this region. So a lot of influencers kind of drive how we feel about our daily lives and our families and how we go about our business. Once again, back to Rotarians, the important things are the values. The important things are what you do. You walk the talk, you do the golf tournaments, you go to the schools, you do the science fairs, you read to the children. Those are the important things. And many, many times, I think, personally anyway, that gets kind of short shrift. And it's hard to really hold that up and edify it, for everybody to see. But that's the real important stuff. So I applaud you for what you do. I know you're on tight schedules. I wanted to give you that brief overview of my experiences with the media on both sides. I've had newspapers, I've had a magazine, and then I've had, over the last several years, the ability to be a spokesperson. So it's a fascinating type of life and experience to work with these folks. But I wanted to leave a few moments to take any questions that you might have, because this becomes a topic of much discussion. And we have enough analysts out there. If you watch the news at night, you have somebody as the anchor making a statement, this happened today in Fallujah. And then they break away to their man in Fallujah. And there's another reporter saying, well, here's what we meant, Harry. And then they break away from him and they come back to an analyst in Washington and here's what Harry really meant to say. So you kind of have people, it's like Pablo, you kind of sit there and say, okay, here's the news, here's really what happened, and now Harry's going to tell you why you ought to feel, about this. So it's fascinating to watch them go. Sometimes it is pure entertainment. They have three purposes in the media: to inform, to educate, and to entertain. And sometimes those three get all put together and looks like a dog's breakfast, as we say. So, that being said, I'll take your questions, and I'm happy to do that for you. Yes, sir.
You discussed the media internet overload very appropriately.
Yes, sir.
Aside from websites like Snopes or just reading from a lot of different media, paper, print, etc., what advice do you have for those of us to sort through all the chaff and try and discern where what I'll call ground truth lies?
Yeah. Two things. I think the most important thing and the most obvious thing that I've tried to tell my bosses over the years, whether they're generals in the Pentagon or my corporate CEO here, they're good men and women, but they get just a little bit naive when they pick up something in the paper and they'll say, my goodness, how could they do that? And I'll say, sir, it has nothing to do with truth. It has nothing to do with epistemology. It has to do with the quarters going in the box. It's a business. So I think the first thing you have to realize is that the media is a business. There's a reason Rupert Murdoch gets up in the morning, It's not to read the paper. So the other thing I think is that once you realize and can kind of in your own minds, and I look at our ages, some of us, you can kind of categorize, okay, if I used to get my information from U.S. News and World Report, whatever happened to be your favorite medium, there's an online version of that, if that happens to be. You've come to that relationship over the years because you've liked a particular writer, a particular author, a particular analyst. Generally speaking, and not meant to offend anyone in the room, generally speaking, there's a liberal bias in the media, generally speaking. Their job is to be, by their choice, our ombudsman. They're the ones that have to go out and ask the tough questions. Their editors drive them out to say, you're not going to read good news. News is negative, okay? You're not going to pick up the paper that says, President Obama had a great morning, kids got off to school, Michelle is happy, and she's going to a tea at 6 o'clock. That's not news. So what happens is you have to decide, okay, which are the ones that I traditionally have gone to? It's kind of like sports. We're in a sports environment right here. You have your favorite sports writers. You have your favorite team. You have the person who maybe has an opinion on the Redskins offense and another one who's got something else. They may have a different opinion, but you tend to align yourself with like-minded people. So what you try to do is you look to validate what you know in your gut is true. You have certain values that you've gained over the years from your family, from your teachers, from your pastors, from your friends and colleagues and fellow Rotarians. You know what your gut instincts are. And if you read something and you go, geez, that just doesn't sound right at all, probably it isn't. But appreciate the fact that the internet is like the Great Wall of China, and anyone can come and just write anything they want on it. You know, it's pure graffiti. Whereas years ago, you had a citation. When a reporter would write a story, you know it had been edited. And so there was a generational chain within a newspaper. The 25-year-old to 30-year-old was the reporter, the man or woman who went out and wrote the story, closest to it. The next one up was 35 to 40, and that was the managing editor of that desk. News desk, metro desk, sports desk, whatever. And then the 50 to 60-year-old was the publisher, who oversees everything and the business side of it. Now, newspapers in particular, as well as television, are businesses. So although the content is important to them, the sales, the circulation is more important. So there's a subtle relationship there. If they're putting out information that is obviously not true, not accurate, that'll reflect itself by you not going to put the quarter in the box. Or you're going to drop your subscription to Time Magazine. Or. So there's a balance between the business side of the publication, or the medium, or the TV advertising, and the content. So they try and reach out to all of us demographically. So what can I put in a 30-minute newscast at night? Okay, you take out 3 commercials, one in the beginning, one in the middle, one at the end. Okay, so the 30 minutes is now down to about 19, because you're going to have a couple of commercials in there. The next thing it's going to fall off is the sports and the weather at the end. So now you're down to about 15 minutes of news. So you're going to start with a national story, because everybody knows what's going on, wants to know about the stock market, highest it's been in 9 months, whatever. Then you're going to come regional. It's going to bring it on down, just like you go to Google.com on your maps, brings it right on down. And then your final story is going to be a local story. So they go from national or international down to the regional, then down to the. As you travel along with that, these folks that you get the news from, and I'll stay with television, really become part of your day. You go to any city you want. San Diego, you're coming in from San Diego. You can look at a Washington, D.C. bus, a San Diego bus, a Philadelphia bus, and guaranteed on the side of the bus you will see the 3 people who give you the evening news. And they will reflect the community. Normally it's a woman, normally it's a minority, and normally it's a Caucasian. And those are the 3 people very consciously, because television is a visual medium, these become your anchors. These become the folks that you go to. And here in D.C., we've had some of the folks that become our favorites over the years. I mean, I may come back 15, 20 years after being in the Pentagon, and there's my same friends on ABC or on LTX, whatever it is. But just look at the buses. That'll tell you who's on TV, and that'll tell you what your community looks like. The media is a reflection of your community. So it's like that mirror over there. If you see a local paper, and you don't like what you read in the paper, or it says the school system has some problems, or it says that, the town needs a new fire truck, that may or may not be true. There are local issues, and they become bigger issues. But if you look at it and you have a question about it, gosh, that's really not where we live, is it? That's really not neighborhood watch, where we've had so many larcenies, so many assaults, etc. Many times, without the editorial side of it, the paper reflects the community. The paper reflects, especially the smaller communities, the weeklies, the ones that come out on Friday. So it's a very complicated process to go through, but as I say, you've assimilated a lot from your schooling, your experience, your colleagues that you work and recreate with, and so you've got to go and sort through it and say, this is reliable, this is what I believe to be the truth. And there's a difference between accuracy and truth. So it's a fascinating business, but the onus is now on us as the audience to sort through it all. And I'll say this, you're going to hear in the next couple of weeks a lot of campaign ads. Some of them will not be nice, criticizing people. But I would suggest